So
So we're
we
on.
we're on
Follow
in late. We are on for us.
night. The late night call. Like we should, as you were saying, we should review the name of these late night talks.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So yeah,
It's my fault.
no, no, no. I mean, it's
It's always
we
Fernand's fault. Don't mind.
It is my fault. But it's fine.
no, but it's cool. It's
Here
cool. I
here
mean,
it's not so late, so all the people in Brazil who see it's not so
Yeah,
late.
true.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. Fine, fine. Well, so
Yeah.
I think we can start right now. I don't know. So, uh, for whoever is listening over here, and if they don't know who
The fuck we
who
are.
are we? So, Mr. Geo, which I assume is more of your context, Mr. Geo and I, we are doing this kind of weird talks from time to time in YouTube and streaming. Caroline is joining us for the late version of this. And what we try to do is to have a topic to talk, bring some good ideas on how to consume media information and that kind of stuff, how to be a little bit more resilient emotionally or more wise on what do we read or how do we tackle the information that comes to us. So on Tuesday, the topic was about being of people with influence, the responsibility they have, and technically some consequences of the words of people with influences. This was inspired a little bit from a certain comedian that made some statements about not having that certain people should not be taking the vaccine if you are already healthy and eating properly, which afterwards that spiral into not necessarily an apology but a rephrasing of his own words. So I think that is actually very important because one of the things he was saying is like, you should not be taking advice from me. I'm just a dumbass. I'm just a comedian, right? A podcaster and that kind of thing. And that's when this person lost me a little bit because there is a responsibility, especially when millions of people are listening to you. Like, uh, that doesn't mean that he should reserve what he's saying. Yeah, if someone believes something and wants to say it, sure, fine. But let's be aware that sometimes when we take very heavy topics or controversial topics, we need to present. It would be nice to present certain types of disclaimers, acknowledging that we are that someone is not a specialist. Actually, that's something we usually do at the beginning of our videos. Is like because we are talking about very broad, wide topics. We miss
Yeah.
examples. We might get a concept incorrect, and it's always good to have a correction or feedback on this kind of stuff because we don't know everything, but what we believe is that we can have a perspective that be productive for everybody, right? So the topic was around a little bit of that. Yeah, that we have had, even in government positions, people that maybe are not the most qualified, but they do have an influence. Yeah, the mainstream concept that is being used is populism, bull, politics, blah, blah. But it's not all the. It's a more traditional way that nowadays we call influencers. They have some kind of influence in a way, in some kind of sphere, and we behave and think a lot of the times according to what these people say. And that's where we as consumers, we need to be careful or be more analytical of what they are saying, right? Like in one side you have the person who's speaking that needs to have some responsibility and accountability of the things he says, but also we are 100% responsible of what information we digest, what information we are going to keep for ourselves and principles. Now, Geo gave us, well, sent me yesterday, I think,
Yeah,
very funny.
it was 2 days ago, I guess, when we
Mhm.
had the talk.
Yeah, something
So
like.
yeah, a couple of days ago. So it's something that happened like last weekend in Italy.
Mm,
So there is this program of these two comedians that decided to have these talks about this uh, kind of going against these politically correct uh, issues that are going on right now.
mhm,
And so they are comedians, and they wanted to base their program on having making like ironies and jokes about different topics. Okay, and it was the last episode. I didn't follow the program actually, so I just was too much interested into it.
mhm,
But I read something, and they basically finished it with saying many topics they face racism, homophobia, and etc. And they finished with many cases. What we all need is some more self irony. I think it doesn't even exist in English, which is basically being more, um, let's say, easy on irony, on jokes. Okay,
mhm,
even if they touch ourselves, and and so it escalated in a kind of let's say people going against this idea because we were thinking obviously just the thing of being more self irony it cannot be a solution when many people constantly and daily are discriminated and have social problems and they're facing social problems.
mhm,
So this actually relates a bit to the topic that we were talking about the influences and the responsibility. And when we were talking after the stream last time, that that was something that came to my mind. That I guess in many cases the people that are right now considered influencers are not being aware on how their audience has changed. What does it mean? If we take as an example comedians, if we were going to see a comedian, okay, a show, one man stand show, you were interested into that kind of art, let's say, kind of comedy, you were going, I don't know, perhaps to the theater to receive that kind of content. So you were aware, and that audience were, let's say, educated to that kind mm, of speech. Okay. Right now, things have changed because that same comedian with the same topic, with the same content, can reach different audience with different education about and ideas about that kind of comedy. So as you said, it can be a part of of the consumer of the information to be more aware of what they are listening. But I think it's very important for the influencer to understand that their role has changed. Even though if they position and they work and they as a person in society is the same, the let's say the final result is changed because the audience is changed, and so it can develop into many more issues as we are seeing.
mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so from what you just heard, Caroline, now I think, especially, I mean, you have a context where I believe you've been exposed to a lot of information that a lot of times is influenced by, not influence, but it comes from the heart, from opinion base. Uh, I'm talking about the part of your role as an educator in terms of art, right? Uh, and I'm bringing the part of the art because I heard, I forgot where, that comedians and artists are very good. I told you this one are the canaries in the mines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for whoever doesn't know what does that mean is like I don't know if they still do it, but long time ago they in the mining tunnels they had canaries just as an indicator of health in the air. If the canary die, that means that there's something out. So usually artists and comedians are the ones who are on the border of what is acceptable, right? So
Yeah.
with the social, political, yada yada, everything. I don't know how you see this part, or what, or how would you define even the what constitutes as an influence and all of that. So bring it on.
Okay. I think I have to think a little bit about this because as an educator, I too am like I have a responsibility as I can influence people all the time. I can like I educate people all the time, so I have like a huge responsibility when I do that. But I think the the thing is when we talk about comedians or even artists is that the thing is the context. I for me, I mean, when Giovanni said like people go to the theater to see like a comedy show, we are in, like when we are there, we have like this mood in our mind that we are seeing a comedian show. So we know we cannot take everything as truth. We know we have to think about like he's doing this because of the joke, of the irony, or anything else. Like I think the problem is with the internet,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things get out of context. Like it gets mixed up with other content, and sometimes you get into YouTube, for example, and you have like educational channels, you have comedy channels, you have like political channels, all in the same platform. So you don't sometimes you don't really get like the difference of context
Mm-hmm.
of what you're hearing, of the kind of information you're consuming. And with art, it's sometimes it's a little bit like that because when we go to the museum, we have like this white walls and like we have pieces very separated and very well lightened. We know we are there to see art, and we have like this mood in our minds that we have to pay attention, and sometimes we have to really think about what we are seeing, even if it's like an object that we find anywhere else, like in our day by day life. So I think the thing here is that sometimes you see like a picture of someone that is naked, and you see like in the internet,
Okay.
it's like it can be anything. When you see it inside of museums, your eyes and your mind is in a different mood, so you will I think your perception of it will be different. And I think the thing is with the internet and all these platforms that have a lot of things, we don't really see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
We have to pay attention what kind of content we are consuming, even if it's like, especially now in the COVID-19, we get a lot of people studying with internet in the computer, and the relationship that we had, like when you are in school, you are studying, and when you are home in your notebook, you were like just looking for entertainment. It's completely changed because now you are in the same space and using the same tool to do both of these things. And the relationship with both of them is going to change because of this another way of living, I guess, and another way of consuming things. So I think uh, what I saw when you were talking about this. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's very important that point when it touch the lack of capability of say an ordinary user to understand that the context is different, and so if the context is different, the perception can be different, and the message perhaps is different.
Hmm.
That's
You
the point.
you know something that it is I don't know call it to call it controversial is the fact that especially with objects it will depend where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see and you last time Carlo you actually talk about this the example about showing a nudity in an exposition for a couple of kids, right, or teenagers. So it's like how funny it is that within the compounds of walls of a museum, this is acceptable, but over here outside is more controversial. I'm not gonna say not acceptable, but more controversial, right? It sounds pretty weird, or I don't know, fair, but I have to agree with both of you in terms of like, is the switch. Gio, you might even know this is it's not the same boxing in your garage than boxing in a proper gym, right?
Gym. Yeah.
So that talks a little bit very interesting about how we behave depending on the places. At the
That's
same time, I will think that in terms of speech, things can be taken out of context, but should still have. Oh, I think someone just
oh,
got frozen.
yeah,
She and she's back.
she's back.
So yeah, so I was saying about in terms of speech, I think it's things need to be said, but the people who speak need to have the accountability. Yeah, and the people who is receiving need to ask questions before trying to bring any kind of judgment, because the example that you mentioned about the YouTubes or the Twitters of the world is the reactionary factor of a lot of the population, and that's exactly why Geo and I started to do this kind of stuff, is because I understand that if I read something, it's going to make me feel a little bit enraged, but I need to have the capability to stop.
To be rational. Yeah.
More than be rational, be wise. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I need to understand where this is coming from and if it actually affects me. Yeah, it's like if you pay attention most of the times when someone insults you, it's invalid. Like you decide to get angry, right? In certain situations, because sometimes you can beat up so much donkey that it will eventually break, right? Uh, so yeah, so it's kind of interesting how all these dynamics. I heard that your example about the museum. I heard a long time ago in a conversation about having religious objects in museums. So when you have a religious object in a museum, there should not be any mm, like cult kind of stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like if you have if you have a cross in a museum, you don't have to do the thing with the hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like because it's
Okay.
yeah, so it
It
has
lose
another.
all, it lose all the aspects that are connected to the religion itself, like to
Which is
the
weird to me.
I
But
think I think uh, yeah, please go on.
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
I
no.
think
Go ahead, both of you, because I'm about to start
I,
throwing both
I
of you
think
questions.
I think I think what is very interesting as you bring this example of the museum, or bring the example of doing boxing in different places, is that changing the context, it changed the rules. So it's like, for example, if we change like a naked uh, person or a naked or a cross in the museum is out of our, let's say, it's kind of the museum. It has its own borders and its own rules. So once you get out of that, you are back into the society with different rules, and it applies with any other things. And so when it comes to to comedians, perhaps it might be seen uh, on the kind of similar level. Now, still, um, the message when it comes to social media, here is the problem. The message can reach people that are not inside that borders. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're still on their rules and they're not on the other place with different rules. And that's where the problem comes on.
Yeah, like they don't understand that this is supposed not to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, of course, because they're still on the rules that are regulating the society or whatever the group
mm,
or the context where they are living.
yeah,
I think there's something else like about when we talk about public figures. Uh, I think some time ago, like public figures had like one specific uh, speciality, or they were famous for one thing. Like if they were an athlete, or they were like a political person, or like an actress. And now we have a lot of influencers that start from one thing, but they get to like speak and make
I
like
agree. Yeah.
advertising for so many different things.
mm,
Like if that in a level, like people get to like be people feel more close to these people, to these influencers, because they know so much about their life, and they get like the identification character. Like I I agree to so many other things that this person said, that whatever she said, I will probably agree to. So I don't really have to make any research by my own. And like if she's saying, and I agree with her with so many things, like the makeup she uses is good, so the political things that she says must be good too, you know?
mm,
I think there's a confusion now
Yeah, that's
in these
very nice.
influencers, like these big influencers, about like the references they have, and they what they really know
mm,
about and what they don't, and they talk about all the things like they're the same, and people get to receive as if it was the same. So I
mm-hmm.
think this causes a little bit of confusion, like it can cause a little bit of confusion.
That's
Yeah,
that's a very nice point.
yeah, and that's exactly how we started. You nail it in one thing is the need of approval, meaning
Mm-hmm.
because I have an identification with how the person speaks or how this or the things that they are saying, is like it's easier for me to accept whatever that person is saying, to say, okay, so I was right. Yeah. And the funny thing is not even the brain who's saying that, is the emotion of the acceptance. That's why you have a lot of these people that you are mentioning, right? Because it's always the, I see myself in this person, this seems obtainable. And
Yeah.
when you start looking at elites and that kind of stuff, actresses, actors, and that kind of stuff, they are like way over here. Yeah, they are cool to follow, but they are not this other person that I can actually relate to, right? And
Yeah.
it is pretty dangerous when you have people that are so relatable and they are not self-aware of the impact that they can have, or they are not self-aware of the accountability that they should have. That's why the example that I started with, I love it. Why? Because sure, I'm someone that the way that this guy speaks, the things that he speaks, the topic he takes, I kind of like sometimes, but I'm already in the mindset of be aware that this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Yeah. So it's like take always a precaution. But I think
Hmm.
most of the
But
people
that's
are,
you, yeah.
yeah, but most of the people are tend to be like okay, so this person is speaking that language that I like, this concept that I like, and it makes me feel better. And so yeah, so and then you create from the thing
And
you talk about this, the spheres.
uh, mhm.
Yeah.
And I think there is this aspect also that he's doing this podcast, so he knows. I mean, that there is this emotional aspect, as you said, and there is also this giving accountability, not based on what actually. Oh,
Don't go, don't go.
she no, she falls. Someone has fallen. My God, we lost her.
Okay.
Oh no, she's back. Okay, wait. What am I
She
I'm
doing?
back,
back.
she back,
I'm back.
she back.
No, but I don't see her, but you see her.
Also,
No,
you're ignoring her.
Yeah.
I'm
Can
once
you
she
can you
said,
hear
That's
me?
not a nice thing to do, man.
wait. So just get out, and I will let you again. Just get out.
Okay.
Oh,
Get
that's just wrong, man. You're just
out.
kicking
Okay,
her.
she left.
She
Yeah,
left. She left, or no?
she.
She didn't left. You kick her away. That's what just happened. Yeah, think about that. Think about
I
that.
own life. Oh, she's back.
Hashtag cancel Geo.
Always and always. Um, so
I don't even know want to know what you were talking about
uh,
when I was out, but
me being super rude. So yeah, so back to the point. That's the aspect also. So there is this emotional aspect in which the user seeing himself in what the influencer, let's call it that way, is saying, and develop the emotions. But there is also this aspect about accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So while before the accountability perhaps was more related to, um, let's say, the curriculum of a person that was speaking a certain topic, right now is just the fact that he's there, he's showing himself with his own content to many people. So he must be accountable for that.
Mm.
That's what comes to my mind. That what mm, because if you do this, you have this kind of leadership. Okay, I guess you are perhaps you can tell us more in the something more academic now. You are the biologist, but I think eh, socially, when you see someone having the power and the capability of expressing and giving information on one direction to many people right now, you give him the accountability for what he's saying. We don't know what the curriculum is and what's the background. So I think also this one comes into the game.
I'm just puff puff, and I don't know.
You
Teacher,
don't get the point.
teacher, yes, I don't get a point.
So the accountability is given
Yeah.
not based on the curriculum and on the background that someone that the influencer has,
Mm.
but based on the fact that he has the power and this kind of leadership of providing the content to many people.
Mm.
That's that's the point.
mm,
So it kind of switched. There was this switch, right?
I'll go.
Got it.
I'll go a little bit. Accountability is completely a personal thing. I don't know if to say personal awareness thing kind of stuff. Oh,
Oh,
there you go.
damn.
am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Still, I still don't see her. So
No, I do.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Uh,
What, so you see
hold it,
now I'm
hold
not.
it. Don't move, Gio. Don't move, don't move. So she can.
I
So you
So
cool?
what
You
should
cool?
we do? No, I
You
don't
good?
see her.
No, no,
Like
no. You don't see her?
I'll go out again.
Okay. Now she's running
It
away.
doesn't make any sense.
yeah, just leave. What the heck? So who is rude now? Well, she cannot join. Why? What the heck is going on?
Wait. We are
Let's,
30 minutes in, man.
yeah,
So
so let's
just we need
go
to be
to
careful. Not
yeah, let's
Am
go
I
necessarily to
back?
to
cut it. No, you're good. You're good.
yeah, let's just
I'm just trying to be careful with the timing
the time. Yeah,
over here.
let's.
Okay.
So anyway, I was telling Gio the part about I don't know what you think about this, Caroline. The part about accountability is a completely personal thing. Doesn't
Mhm.
like if you do not teach accountability at early stages of the little larva, yeah, uh, you will not have accountability when you're an adult. If
Mhm.
you don't teach accountability when little kid, you it doesn't matter if that person has or doesn't have any power, yeah. So
Mhm.
with that I'm saying, because you associate both of them, I will say that having power has nothing to do with having accountability. Having power is, first of all, is how do you get the power. uh, Second is an obligation now. Yeah, it should be an obligation to have some kind of responsibility, accountability. But you cannot expect that from anyone with authority or power, because that is taught since the very beginning. Um, that's why sometimes, for example, the apologies that I have seen when someone trips in an argument and then they have to do an apology, a lot of the times it sounds very condescending. At least for me, for my
Mhm.
taste. Yeah. But anyways, so now, so before I go with that, Caroline, I don't know if you have something to add.
No, I would say like I was thinking about the the thing that I see a lot is that a lot of influencers use this like this kind of irresponsible approach to things like, oh, I'm not a specialist, but going to talk about anyway as a strategy to get like even closer to get even more identification from the public, because a lot of people like they don't want to hear like a specialist talking about a subject. It's kind of boring and very technical and specific. If they have to hear about something that is going on, they will probably look for something on YouTube that is short and it's kind of funny and kind kind of relatable, like simple, that they can just consume something very easy and kind of get the idea of what
It's a
they're
quick fix.
looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I see this approach, like this like superficial approach of a lot of complex subjects as a strategy to get more views and get more public. And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this
It's
is like
that attention
I mean,
this is
economy.
a choice.
Mm-hmm.
the user looks for someone that has more proximity with. Uh,
Yeah, like
so
same
that's
age and
that's the point.
same
It's
background sometimes.
the other day I was uh, listening someone. Well, before that, oh my gosh, I have to be fast with this. I tend to be
Don't
someone that
don't bring to example, man.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I tend to be someone that respect honesty, even though I disagree with the person. I will
Hmm.
always get behind a Cardi B or a Nicki Minaj. Why? Because in their songs, in their lifestyle, and the way they speak and the things they say, they are what they speak. You might disagree
Hmm.
with that lifestyle, but at least you are not hiding, right?
They're
Like you don't,
current. Yeah.
yeah. So like, don't come to me dressed as an angel and turns out to be a psychopath, right? So that's the thing that I kind of like. The other day I was viewing someone, and she literally said that being like, because right now there's this trend in Twitch of girls streaming in bikini and in a bath, in a small pool and that kind of stuff, and then suddenly, obviously, it's going to be criticized and yada yada, right? But it's like, if there's a market, why not exploit it, right? That's how they think. They think, and I kind of agree. And this lady was saying, like, look, being a thought is more. It's better than being a doctor. That you earn more money than being a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's highly probable. Maybe not in the long run. Maybe not in the long run.
Yeah, in the
But it
short
is
term.
really probable, right? Because there's a market who's willing to give you money. And listening someone saying that, even though I disagree with the mechanic, I'm like, I respect you. I mean, it's like you're not hiding anything. So if I end up contributing to your whatever you're doing, then it's on me, you know? But anyway, so I just want to say that part, like, at least in terms of the influencers getting quick fixes, there might be for me a point where I do respect, even though I do not like what they are doing, right?
Wait,
Unfortunately, when
wait,
you
wait, wait,
what
wait, wait,
what are you
wait.
doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What?
Now he's going out of battery. But okay, in the meantime,
We don't have time for that.
he just broke everything. But okay, I still have you. So
Yeah.
while this guy, I don't know what he's doing. I'm pretty sure
I
he is
don't
charging.
know what he's doing.
But it's funny. We still have you. So here
Okay.
comes a question, especially because you are an educator. So two questions.
Okay.
When, or more like, how did have you feel of being like a moment or an example of how do you feel, how did you feel of being an influence to someone? That's one. And the second one, have you ever admitted a professional mistake, and how did that feel?
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, how I feel about influencing someone. I mean, since I work with education in like in the in arts education, I every time I think I really change someone's perspective about art, like if they didn't like it or they didn't understand it, and they a lot of people create like actually like create a wall to hide behind. Like I don't want to see it. I don't want to go. A lot of the times, like students that come to us, they didn't want to be there in the
Mm, mm. We have this intermission. Champ, you cut us off. You cut us
Just
off.
don't,
You.
don't say anything. Just don't say anything, please. Just
All of
don't
this is going into the. This is going into the video, man. This
don't
is
say
going
anything.
into the video. All
Just
of this. This
don't
is going
say anything.
raw, raw, the
what
Just
way you
happened.
like it, raw.
don't say anything because I don't want to burn the entire house before
Okay,
sleeping today. So just
okay, okay. So breathe. Okay, just to catch you up because I asked a couple of questions and I would like to have your answers too.
mhm.
Um, yeah, we've been pointed out by an old friend of mine. But anyway, so I asked Caroline, like, think about a point in your life when you were an influence to someone and yada yada. How did I feel? That's one. And the second one, a point in your life where you have to have admitted a mistake and how did I feel? So Caroline was giving her answer right now. So you have time to think.
Yeah, I was saying.
I will first calm down.
I was saying that since I work with education and education in the art field, I every time I acknowledge that I get to change someone's mind about what they thought about art in the first place, if they didn't like it or they didn't understand it, they didn't want
I'm sorry,
to
Caroline.
actually think about it.
Hold it. Just a quick one. Sorry. I don't know if it's the mic or volume, but I hear you a little bit distant. Can you
Can you hear me?
a little bit more approximation?
Let me try. Is it good?
That's better.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I feel like I get to change someone's mind about it, and someone like really gives me that look that they really understand what I'm talking about. Since I work with education and I really believe in what I'm saying, I really believe in the power of transformation that art can do in society. That feels really rewarding. I mean, working with education in general, I think is very rewarding. We feel proud of ourselves when we get to really teach someone about something, like something we believe is right and we believe is important. And of course, I already made mistakes in my professional, uh, in my work in general, and I think I always try being honest about it. Like if I, of course, I never like make big mistakes. Sometimes I get like the artist wrong, the name wrong, or the date of the artwork, and I try just to take it like as a funny thing, I guess. Like I laugh about it and I say, "Oh, I was wrong. I'm a crazy person. Don't don't mind me. I'm crazy. Got it wrong. I'm
Mm.
sorry. It's another thing." I try to like even treat it with a little bit of humor, so the person knows that he doesn't like have to take it very seriously. And if they say something wrong, especially in the museum, I have to like create this space where people are not afraid to be wrong and are not afraid to express what they think and what they're thinking about anything that I ask for or anything that they see in the art piece. So I think this space is safe not just for the person who is with me, like the uh, public in general, but for me also. Like I always try to put myself in a place that I'm here and I know more about this subject because I work here,
Mm.
but I'm always open to listen to you and listen to your opinion. And I can be wrong. I'm also learning a lot of things. So I try very in the beginning to establish this relationship with people I'm working with. Like when I'm with a group of people or if I'm with like only one person, I always try to make this very clear in the beginning that I'm opening myself to you to listen to what you think. So if you open yourself to me too, we can have like a real conversation, and this also opens ways for mistakes, and that's okay. And I think it's a privilege from what I do and from where I work specifically. But
Mm.
for me, it's never been like a big problem. No.
Okay. Very. Thank you.
Like,
Are you okay? Are you okay?
still trying to figure out how to not destroy everything in my house, but
So
I will work on and being rational. and wise and not emotional.
Okay.
But
So hit it.
okay, back to the question.
Time is
So
ticking.
when it comes to influencing people, I have this kind of two contrasting feelings. On one side, as Carol said, it's kind of rewarding, like you have, it kind of sometimes makes you feel a bit powerful, a bit a wise man. I mean, I had the possibility to influence someone in my opinion, of course, because if I influence someone, I try to influence the person in a way that I think is better. Okay, so I managed to influence that person that thought in a better way on my view.
Mm,
But on the other side, I have this contrasting feeling that is, but perhaps that my view is not the right one for that person. And so I influenced the person perhaps because they were lacking uh, of mm, knowledge or awareness and etc. And so they led to be influenced by me. But perhaps they would have made a different choice if it wasn't for me, which could have been better for them or not. That thing I don't know. So I have these two contrasting feelings that comes into the game.
mm.
Well, when it comes to having to say I was wrong,
You seem
man,
like a person that.
man, really I used to be like a super proud person when I was a youngster. No, and yeah,
You don't
no, I
understand
never
me, Dad. It's not a
wrong.
phase.
I cannot be wrong. I used to, but right now, I mean, sometimes it makes actually. So, in a personal perspective, I don't have many problems in saying I'm wrong. It happens at work. It happens with friends. Of course, there are in some cases when you are perhaps uh, depending on the relationship that you have with the person that you are admitting that you're wrong, it might hurt a bit more or a bit less. It obviously depends on the proximity that you have with the person. But this thing of admitting that you're wrong comes into the game in a positive aspect when we speak about influencing people. Because when I show that I can admit that I'm wrong, I'm influencing someone in that way. Like you see, there is nothing right. There is nothing wrong at admitting that that you are wrong. So, and there are these different feelings that kind of evolve in my mind and in
Okay,
my
okay.
belly when the situation come out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, so then I think we are on time right now. So
Yeah.
just to summarize in a couple seconds, reiterating the
Wait,
thing.
you're not gonna answer your question?
No, no, because I never influence nobody and I don't
What?
make mistakes.
Man, man, Carol. So let me just tell you this.
Okay, that answers
Today,
a lot. That already answers everything.
today, silence is always an answer. So 2 days ago, I was telling because after the stream, we were keep talking, okay, and we had actually a very good talk in my opinion. And so I said, Fernanda, that's a pity that we are losing this part of the talk because we are just throwing our ideas out of our mind. And it was like, ah, never mind that. You will never see
You will
my idea.
never, never see in
Yeah,
public my actual thoughts and feelings. But if I were to ask that question, I kind of have that because I ask a moment and how that does it feel to have influence in a particular moment. I have given classes a lot. I will say in a very romantic way when I was giving ecology to kindergarten. And it was so cool that I have a bunch of kids howling like wolves because I was the alpha and they were the. So as ridiculous as it sounds, that was cool. I'm not gonna give it like serious examples, but that is one. That's cool. Now about admitting mistakes, I'm sorry, I'm someone who's really aware of when he's making professional mistakes, and I take it very hard on myself. I can tell you right now, last year I made a big mistake, or something that I thought it was a big mistake, uh, in my job. Later on, apparently, it was not that big of a deal. It was expected, but at the moment, it was something that made me literally not sleep, and I was apologizing very frequently because like it sounded like I compromised a whole project, right? Now, personal, I made a mistakes. Yeah, that is even easier. I think that's easier for me. Yeah, I don't mind. Uh, but yeah, so that's it. Are you happy now? Are we
Well,
cool? Are we cool? Can we close this now?
I, I would have something to say, but I won't.
You, I'll say that later. So anyway, get the hell out of with that. So okay, so just to close it up, at
Okay, we
least
can
from
close now.
my 30-second words over here, it would be like, let's always keep in mind who are we listening to, and be mindful of the words that are being thrown at us every time. Something I said to Gio during the actual episode was, if you find yourself agreeing with someone 90% of the time, you are doing something wrong. Yeah, like you are eating most of the cake. So we need to be careful. It doesn't mean that I need to contradict the person, but we need to reevaluate what we are getting if we are agreeing most of the time with someone. Uh, from my perspective, I don't think it's a very healthy thing. Know where are our responsibilities as consumers, and understand that we need to have personal accountability and expect accountability from the people that we see, right? So that's with me. You know, Caroline,
Yeah.
nothing to add?
No, I will. Yeah, I will go real quick. Uh, as I said at the very first episode, particularly when it comes to influencer, I think we have to take a break to really be aware of the context that we are involved at the moment, and analyze the speech and how it's said, and being mindful of that. So, and I think, and speaking about the agreeing and not agreeing with people, uh, I think everybody should, me first, first of all, uh, should exit that comfort zone of finding himself into group of people that are having the same idea, the same thoughts, and the same views. So start finding someone to disagree with, and in order to understand that there are different views from yours, and that's perhaps one of the main ways to have some personal growth. So I mean that,
So that's it. Okay.
and Carol is just
Yeah,
freezing right now. So
yeah, yeah.
that's a message. In my opinion, that's a message. She's telling us, if we take that into this context, she's telling us, come on.
Couple more words, Caroline. Come on. Couple, 30 seconds.
Oh my God. 30 seconds. No, I think I agree with you all. We have to be about
Well,
You're losing you.
no, no,
You're losing you.
wait. Come again. We lost you.
right?
We
Am
lost
I
you.
back?
No. Okay. Yeah.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was just
Pixeling,
saying
but
that we have to take responsibility about the things that we know the world. Like if you want to consume anything, it's up to you. Like you can consume anything you want. It's not about that. It's just about like when you are reproducing this information and you just put it out
Yeah,
again to the world, like influence people.
super far,
Yeah.
super far, Carl.
You
It's
put
super
the
far.
microphone again away.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Oh my god.
uh,
I know you
we
wanna.
we are
You
we
should have
we are
told me
bad,
before.
man. We are bad, but that's cool.
Okay. Well, so
It's okay.
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 Uh,
well, we managed to
You were
catch some of that for sure. Don't worry, it's gonna be recorded. Uh, so
Okay.
Gio,
we
say,
were on.
you are on not as dry. Thank you to everybody that was over here listening to these
Yeah.
three cuckoo people. Um, we
And
promise
seeing
to be
our
politically incorrect next time, and
oh, sure.
we
That's amazing.
usually publish episodes at least try to do it weekly. I mean, we would like you to subscribe
Yeah.
in the YouTube thing and comments and those kind of stuff. And also go and visit your other
She's
account,
a, she's
klima.art
pointing her.
here in Instagram, where she puts all these
Yes.
crazy things that she calls
Klima.art.
art, but we are not getting to that in that discussion. Uh, so thank you everybody. Good
We
night to
can get
who.
into
Thank you,
this
guys.
discussion in
Oh yeah,
another
no, no.
one.
We go into a
Yeah.
call after this. So good
I
night
will.
to whoever is night, and good afternoon to whoever is afternoon, and
Yeah.
good
So enjoy your day,
afternoon, good
Carol.
evening, and good night. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Call afterwards. Bye.